Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Dose. I'm your host, Michelle Harrell. And today I thought we would dive into the legal psilocybin program here in Oregon. I often get asked a lot of questions when I introduce myself to somebody and they find out what I'm doing for a living. And so I realized that there's a lot of people out there that might not be familiar with the legal psilocybin program here in Oregon. And so I thought I'd just walk you through it, kind of let you know how it works, the nuts and bolts of it. Yeah, let's get started. So it goes back to 2020 when Oregon voters first passed Measure 109. Measure 109 is the nation's first legal psilocybin framework. And it took a couple of years for the program to, get off the ground. Obviously, committees needed to be formed, public hearings needed to be held, lots of rule drafting and iteration, as I'm sure you can imagine. But it kicked off finally in January of 2023, and Oregon began to issue licenses in January of 2023. Now, in Oregon, there are 5 license types. And I'm going to talk you through those right now. So the first license type is the manufacturer's license, and those are the people that are actually growing the psilocybin mushrooms. And so you do have to be licensed in order to be able to provide your product through this legal framework. And until recently, most of those growers were delivering whole dried mushrooms to the service centers for consumption. But just recently, they have updated the rules, and we are beginning to see things like mushroom gummies and mushroom chocolates being created for this type of experience as well. So those are coming and starting to be rolled out currently. And you would have to check with each service center to understand what products they might be carrying. So that gets me into the next license type, which is actually the lab license. And so the labs are the ones who are testing the mushrooms that are grown through the manufacturers. And they're testing for safety, as you can imagine, and for efficacy of each mushroom batch. And we are required to, include certain things about each mushroom on the label. And one of those things that we're required to include is the potency, let's say, of the mushroom, because each mushroom batch, as you can imagine, it's a natural plant, is not always equal, right? So mushroom A may not be as strong as mushroom B. And so we do test for that through this legal program, which I, as a facilitator, really appreciate, because it means our dosing is much more accurate and much more consistent through this legal framework. If you have, partaken of psilocybin mushrooms in the underground, which, I myself have as well, the only real way to dose is by sight or by weight. And so, you're not always guaranteed the same type of experience, even if you take the same amount of mushrooms in the underground. And so I really do appreciate the fact that we have a little bit more control over that through this legal model, because of the lab testing that happens on each batch of mushrooms. So moving on to the third license. So the third license type is the facility, where you actually will be consuming the psilocybin mushrooms for your experience. And so the facility is actually required to follow all kinds of regulations and safety protocols. So it really is one of the most difficult licenses to obtain, in my opinion. A lot of rules and regulations around it. So, and I think right now in Oregon, I'm not sure what the latest number is. Last time I looked, I think we were around 30 or 35 service centers across the state. Several in the Portland metro area, and throughout the state, as you can imagine. So that is the the third type of license. The fourth type of license is the facilitator license, which is the license that I hold. And so the way that the legal model actually works is it's very different from cannabis. I think a lot of people may assume that this legal psilocybin model is similar to the recreational cannabis model, but that is actually not true. So you're not able to just walk into a licensed psilocybin facility and buy your mushrooms and take them home. Um, Today, and under this current model, you must consume your mushrooms on site at the licensed facility, and you must consume them with a licensed facilitator in company. So you're not able to even do them on your own in a room by yourself, for instance. You must have a facilitator with you. And so, that's really done for safety, for obvious reasons. It's always my recommendation, no matter how you consume your mushrooms and where you may consume your mushrooms, that you do it in a safe environment, in a more controlled environment. And by controlled, what I mean is maybe not for the first time at a big dance party or rave or what have you, or out in public. I think your first time, it's really important to do it with caution and with intention, and do it in a safe place with people that you trust. That would be my biggest advice. But obviously, I'm an advocate for this legal model. Within the legal model, it gives you a framework for complaints if you needed to, any kind of, God forbid anything, went in the wrong way, or people were practicing unethically. At least you have somewhere to turn to in this legal experience and legal model. So, that's my advice always. And then you may be asking, hey, Michelle, I thought you said there were 5 license types. You've only talked about 4. You've been paying attention. So there actually is a 5th license type, which is a worker's permit. And basically any of us who are working in and around psilocybin mushrooms must obtain the worker's permit. So I actually hold that license as well. And it's an easier license to obtain, but it is a requirement for anybody working in and around a licensed service center. So those are the 5 types of licenses. I'm just going to recap for you guys. So the first was the manufacturer license, the people who grow the mushrooms. The second is the lab who does the testing on all of the mushrooms. And the third is the facility. The facility is actually where you purchase the mushrooms on the day of your journey. I do not buy and sell mushrooms, so please don't contact me for that. And the 4th license is the facilitator license, which is what I hold. And the 5th is the worker's permit, which anybody who works in and around a facility must obtain. So those are the 5 types of licenses. And for anyone who's interested and curious about learning more, I welcome you to reach out via my website, treeoflifefacilitationservices.com, or via purplecityexperience.com if you're looking for a retreat type of experience. I offer both. I offer standalone psilocybin packages, and I offer various types of retreat programs for couples and individuals. And so, typically the process that we would go through if you were to want to go down this route is we would first have an introduction consultation. I offer free consultations. You can schedule those via both of my websites, or, find me on Instagram. And we first have a conversation just to make sure that it's, the right fit for you, the right fit for me, understand that it's safe for you, talk about your intentions and your situation a little bit, answer any questions that you may have. And then following that first initial call, if you decide that you want to move forward, then, we get your dates all booked and we kick off the process. And the way that I work is I hold 2 preparation sessions with every client. Typically, we're doing that virtually because most of my clients are coming from other states and out of the country for this legal program. But, I also get clients here in Oregon and sometimes just across the border in Washington. And so, for those clients that would prefer to have preparation in person, that's also something that can be arranged. It just, depends on our schedules. But following our two preparation sessions, we would have your actual journey date. If you book a retreat, then that includes the transportation and all the good stuff. Otherwise, I meet my clients at the facility on the day of their journey. And a journey typically lasts, depending on your dose, of course, but a big journey with a macro dose typically lasts anywhere from 4 to 6 hours. And I'm with you that entire time. And then following your journey, I do an integration session with every client as well. And I also offer additional integration sessions for those who may want longer term support. So that's kind of the process, real quick, nuts and bolts of it. And yeah, I would be, happy to help anybody out there who is interested in learning more. Always happy to do a free consultation. No pressure, no big sales pitch. Just to help you explore whether or not this may be a tool that might be useful for you in your health journey. So that is it for today's episode. I just wanted to walk everybody through the legal framework here in Oregon and answer kind of the basic questions around it. I think in a future episode, I will definitely get into a little bit more of what to expect, especially if you're psychedelically naive or you've never, tried psilocybin. I get a lot of questions from people about what to expect and, what the top fears are and that kind of thing of doing something like this. So I will definitely plan on recording a future episode on that very topic. And really welcome anyone out there listening to let me know. Contact me in all the ways: LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I'm out there under Purple City Experience or Tree of Life Facilitator. And I would love to hear from you if there are questions that you have around this legal model or about anything to do with psilocybin. Please reach out and let me know. And I will try to do my best to answer all the questions. All right. Thanks, everybody, and have a great day. Once again, I'm your host, Michelle Harrell, and you're listening to Beyond the Dose. Thank you.